Hey guys, how's it going? Shimmer, aka Baby Sham 33 here. So we've got a lot of information out today with regards to this is my second video today about the roadmap and the direction of the game. And unlike the one with regards to War Season 19, this one is promising. We're going to discuss um, Book 2 um, and where that's going. We're going to discuss the variants and at the same time quest updates and things that they're looking to change in Act 6 and implement going forward. So let's just jump into it. Like I said, we have a lot to go through. I'm going to skip through the just the general conversation, new vision, and just kind of jump into the meat of things. Back issues number 5. So that is going to be the Blood and Venom quest that's coming up. And we all know Variant, the content is normally put together really well. Outside of Variant 1, Variant 1 was, yeah. But the others have been put together very well for your time and effort spent. The rewards are really nice. So that's always something that folks look forward to. And what they're looking to do, he says here, I'm happy to report that while we originally scaling back releases on these, we've taken a swerve and are getting them back into the roadmap in a more focused way. I'm personally excited about this because back issues are some of the favorite quests to work on and a project I and many others are very passionate about. So we should start seeing these on a more consistent basis, which is like fantastic. And just, but at the same time too, just continue with the thoughtful design. Back issues number 5, Blood and Venom, will be no exception. We'll be going back to champion requirements. We know how that worked out in number 4. So in the same time too in number 3, where if you brought extra large champions, or you could only bring star levels at certain star levels depending on the quest that you're in. So some of it can be done right. It definitely can be done right, as we've seen them do. But keeping them act wide, so it's not like, okay, variant 1 where you only had to, in the first chapter you had to use mutants and skill characters. It's not like that, so that's fantastic. Champion requirements are act wide, so through the whole act. As I said, similar to what we saw in Variant 3, where you had to use large or extra large champions, and even then in using medium and small, there's ways to kind of get around that. So yes, act wide, and layering that in with some tagged target buffs that will make certain champions very potent in the right place. So for example, same thing in when you had Variant 3, if you had a Sentinel, you were golden. As for who, I can tell you for sure that the man of the hour. So basically, from what it sounds like here, if you have a Venom, you're golden. The man of the hour, his greatest rival, Spider-Man, and the hero who hunted him should all be present on your front line. So if you have the whole Spider-Man cast, brush off that Spider-Man, that Vulture. Like I said, if you have a Venom, it sounds like you're going to have a good time with back issues 5. And that's going to be released in August as part of the 28.0 build. So that's something definitely looking forward to. Sounds like they've put some thought into it, and looking forward to that and streaming it. Now we're going to go down to Act 6. Let's go past the introduction. Updating the champion boss fight. So, what they're going to be doing with the champion boss fight in particularly is the damage taken from Nullify in the main event phase will be reduced from 10 to 2%, which is a great thing. So, when you're using your Symbiote Supreme or, your Clairvoyant or anything like that, that ridiculous damage you were taking within that second phase, I think it's the second phase, second or third phase, second phase. All that crazy damage you were taking whenever you nullify, he's unstoppable in his regions and so forth, has been reduced from 10 to 2%. Fantastic change. Block penetration from the champion will be reduced by 50%. Amazing, considering that if you're in that final phase, and you would have to either dex those special ones to reduce those charges perfectly. Like I said, just the block damage you were taking, if you weren't boosted, you were dead. It was really a bad time for a lot of people. The dexterity requirement in the final phase will be reduced from 5 to 3 because we've all been there where, we're down to that last charge and all of a sudden, you're dead and you have to do it all over again. So from 5 to 3 definitely is a nice improvement. And removing no retreat buff node. Thank you. That is not a fun fight, especially like I said with the champion and you having to dex back with the block damage that you're taking. That is definitely welcome. So very, very happy about all of that. Now we have reducing attack values across the entire act. The entire act. Attack values for opponents is something that we're committed to focusing more on with every new piece of content we're developing. We're going back into Act 6 and retuning encounters to bring their attack values more in line in comparison to Abyss of Legends and Grandmaster Boss in Act 6, Chapter 4. Now, for those of you that have not gone into the Abyss of Legends, while they have like these huge health, now, if you get, hit a few times, it's not going to be like, okay, you took a 5-hit combo, you're not dead. You might get stunned and get hit for another 5-hit combo, and then you're dead. No, well, you can get about, you can get, I think in Abyss of Legends, there's some fights that maybe I got, tagged about 15 times on, especially that thing fight, where you get tagged a few times and you still survive. It happens. It happens. But I'm just saying that to say the attack values are not so, though, the health pools are very big and the fights are long. The health pools are not so overtuned that if you make one mistake, you're dead. And unfortunately, going through Act 6, there's a lot of fights like that where if you make a mistake, it's over for you. So this is definitely a positive change. Same thing with the Grandmaster Boss. Though, like I said, it's a complex fight, and you have to think through it. It's a good fight. Because like I said, if you make a mistake, if you make a mistake and you get hit, you're not dead. If you fail to complete those prompts or too many of those prompts, yeah, you're dead, as he's going to go automatically to an SP3 and knock you out. But if you take some hits along the way, that's not what's going to kill you. See, attack values for each path encounters in Act 6, Chapter 4 will be reduced by 40 to 60%, dropping them from 15k on average, because some of those are 15, 19k, to around 5, 9k on average. Like I said, you still have some, some big health pools on some of those fights. But now, if you make a mistake, or even just on block damage, for example, the Darkhawk boss fight, you know, where he starts out in the invisible mode, or if, and if you get through that, and if you're not very careful at the start of the fight and you get hit, 5 times, if you take a 5 hit combo while he's unblockable, you're dead. If you make it through that phase and say you push him to a special one and you're baiting out the special ones, if you take that block damage, there's a good chance, if you're not boosted into your full health, you're dead. So that is definitely welcomed. Pad fights in 6.3, 6.2, and 6.1 will be scaled down from that top value accordingly. Attack values for final boss in Act 6, Chapter 4, excluding the Grandmaster, will be scaled down 60 to 75%, dropping them from 22k on average to 6.5 to 10k on average. Final bosses in 6.3, 6.2, and 6.1 will be scaled down from the top values accordingly. That is fantastic news for anybody that is progressing through the content. Where I said, if you make an error, you will not feel it's like, hey, if I take a 5 hit combo, I'm dead. Or if I'm not Dexing, or I'm not, if I'm not, Dexing every special perfectly, I'm dead, even just from chip damage. So, we can scroll through pain points. They're just discussing that they don't want, it's clear to see that there are boss fights and pad fights implemented in Act 6 that are far too demanding and niche. We will be reviewing each chapter in Act 6 and taking aim at the most egregious encounters and retuning their buffs and profiles. For example, that Mysterio acid wash fight, just to kind of one to come off the top of my head. So they're going to be taking a look at those and trying to to retune those fights. So definitely happy that they're finally hearing the players when it comes to that. There's going to be special beta testing, and they're looking for information on the forums for people to provide feedback on some of those fights, though honestly there should be plenty of feedback already. So when are these changes coming, and what if I've already completed Act 6? For us, Book 2 is an important event in MCOC, and we want as many of you as possible to experience it. That's why our goal is to bring some if not all of this changes to the game before the launching of Book 2. Read on to find out more. So, as for those that have recently completed Act 6, we're exploring the options for compensation, and we are discussing how we want to manage quest compensation into the future, especially for their top tier content. So these will be, these changes will be done before Book 2 is released. And if you've already done these, done these quests, they're discussing compensation, but they're not sure. They're not sure what that's going to look like at this moment. As for Book 2, Chapter 1, I've done the better. If you go back to my channel, you'll see me going through the paths and discussing each of the chapters in details. So I won't deal too much into this. um, but they are looking to change how the paths were laid out. They understand that it's, um, you know, it, just kind of scroll down here. They understand the difficulties from the feedback they got off the node designs, how frustrating it was for the player trying to find the proper words to describe the absolute BS that Book 2 was. But forcing players to struggle just to do bare minimum against opponents was difficult and unsatisfying. Giving players opportunities for massive damage spikes and health recovery are themselves rewards, and we should be providing them to players more often. Outwitting a challenging champion, or overcoming a tough buff node are accomplishments that deserve a celebration. So they're looking for ways to basically, if you, for example, if you dex a certain amount of times, every time you dex, you get, say, a fury buff. So they're looking for ways to give you, the attacker, or you, the champion, ways to increase your damage taking on difficult content, but at the same time, not giving you difficult content that is just overtuned for the sake of overtuned. So path-based rewards will be added to Book 2 to fill the gap between completion and exploration. Fights will be designed to reward optimal play rather than punish suboptimal play. So therefore, if you are a parry player, you're not going to be punished with these insane attack damages because that's your play style. However, if you are able to dex and intercept, based on that, maybe you'll get some fury buffs or precision buffs or something to that effect. Is what that's basically saying. They want to respect player investments. We mentioned before that players have invested in the champions they want to play, and we are going to do a better job of giving them more avenues to be used. However, respecting players' investment goes beyond champions. It means being more transparent about what is fair to expect and what is expected to be fair. Energy cost to complete a path in Book 2 will not exceed 70 energy. That is fantastic. There is no reason why you're going to a path and you need like 1.5 energy refills to get through. The time required to complete a path is reduced as part of reducing the scope of quest paths. Also, fantastic, because doing 9 paths in a quest or 10 paths in a quest is just it's frustrating. It is not fun design. I honestly don't think there should be more than 6 paths, but yeah. RPG requirements for fights will be loosened to open up more avenues for counterplay. Empower players with choices. Most of the meaningful choices made by players happen at the start of a quest. Party compositions, which path to start down, activate and boost, etc. This severely impacts opportunities for experimentation, specializations, and strategy, because it forces players to front load problem solving. Our aim for story content is to provide more decision making opportunities inside of the quest, as well as expand on the variety of choices available. So bullet point story quest will feature multiple final bosses for more choices and less repetition. We're slowly rolling out new gameplay for use in Book 2 by introducing champion swapping in Chapter 1. This is inspired by incursions. So in incursions, you can, once you start off on a path, it gives you an option to either delink the defenders, so remove the defender nodes on the first section, but at the same time you can swap out a hero if they are still alive. So that's something that's going to be interesting to see. Want to reduce mental load. The bullet points for this: number of paths, length of paths, and fights per path have been decreased. Hallelujah. Expect fewer buffs on the majority of encounters, with simpler buffs being applied. Fantastic. Path difficulty will be scaled from easy to hardest, with a clear signposting to help identify them, rewards, PI tuning, etc. This will be ideal because it will allow folks to at least get a completion, if not an exploration, on some of these harder challenges. Based on this, if they can at least get the completion, they can start to get some of the rewards that will help them towards building their roster, so they can, they get rewards towards building their roster, and they start getting experience with some of these fights, so they can start going for exploration. So definitely a fantastic upcoming change. Challenging players with bosses. Final bosses are being designed as standalone experiences that will rely less on niche RPG encounters and hard skill requirements. Having multiple final bosses per quest will allow us to scale their difficulty and vary their challenges to keep the quest fresh for replays. So when you're going, when you're having to do 6 paths, maybe 2 paths you face one boss, it's an easier boss. On 2 paths you face maybe a medium difficult, and on 2 paths you face the much harder boss, or something to that level. Or even if it's just 2 bosses, 3 paths, you face one boss that's at a certain difficulty level. As I said, once again, it makes it much easier for you to at least get the completion and to kind of work your way up towards 100% exploration. And at the same time too, like I said, it does bring a certain amount of just freshness to the quest, where you're not just fighting the same boss, the same node, and the same manner over and over again. It's not fun at all, and doesn't even in some of the things with Act 6, it's like, okay, I can go through and do them. Like I said, honestly, if I'm doing 10 paths, doing this, fighting the same boss over and again, there's no, I have no will whatsoever to kind of rush through it, because it's not fun. It's not fun content. It's just on the hamster wheel. I have to struggle through feeding potions and fighting through some BS nodes to get back to the same boss with some BS nodes, to do that over and over again, and that's not what the game should be. And I'm happy that they've noticed that, and they're making the necessary changes to get away from that. Now we've got Cavalier Difficulty coming up. I'm sorry, just because I kind of skipped over this. So Book 2, Act 2, Chapter 1, they're looking to have it released for December of this year. That also ties in with, as I said, as I said previously, that they want to make sure that the changes to Act 6 are completed by before Book 2, Act 1 comes out. So they'll be making the changes to the champion bosses and reducing the attack value sooner, But when it comes to special niche fights and so forth, they want to basically have all of those changes concluded before Book 2, Act 1, Chapter 1 comes out, and that's going to be December 2020, just to give you a good timeline of everything that is going on. Then you have the Cavalier Difficulty, and so this is something, for a long time people have been asking for a new difficulty when it comes to the monthly event quest. And so we've gotten some previous information on this, on kind of how they want to roll this out. They don't want to just kind of put out some quest that everybody is unhappy with, especially with regards to the difficulty. So they want to make a much more measured, take a much more measured approach with this. And this is going to be starting next month by having some side quests and seeing how the difficulty is, and at the same time taking the feedback given by the community. So just to kind of breeze through this, the purpose of the new Cavalier Difficulty is to both help you build your roster to face the Grandmaster in Act 6 and also prepare you for Book 2 of the contest. So like I said, they don't want to just kind of throw just difficult content at you, but it should have a purpose with something challenge you and then give you rewards so you can kind of progress through the challenges that are in front of you now and coming in the future. New Cavalier event quest difficulty will be available to those that have achieved the Cavalier title, but that does not mean that once you reach a Cavalier title, exploring or even completing it will be a breeze, which it shouldn't be. At launch, there will be a wide range of Cavalier players trying out this new difficulty, from someone that has recently achieved the milestones to a summoner that has countlessly beaten the Grandmaster. The power and the skill level can vary widely. Our challenge is building a quest that can appeal to them all. To do so, we're building an easy path in each quest so that any Cavalier player can attempt to obtain the completion rewards without a super wide roster. The completion rewards will help you develop the breadth of your roster, helping you rank up your 5-star champions to rank 5. Once your roster is wider and your skills sharper, you would be able to challenge yourself by attempting the exploration. Exploring a Cavalier difficulty would require either a good amount of skill, a wide range of ranked up champions, or a lot of power. But if you succeed, those tier 5 class catalyst fragments will be yours. That is exciting to hear. Tier 5 class catalyst fragments, something that honestly is difficult to achieve. Either you're having to place at those high levels in war, or it's offers. Often really poor offers, but those are your ways to kind of achieve tier 5 class catalysts. Either that, or when you've completed Act 6 or the Abyss, unfortunately, really are your only other ways to get those class fragments, so you can rank 3 your 6 stars. So happy to see how that's going to be part of the reward, and looking forward to see how much of that you're getting. Why did it take so long? Well, we won't go into that. Release dates. So we have in July, there's going to be the Canadian difficulty side quests. So this is going to be tie into with the release of Sasquatch and Guardian. And them being part of the, basically what would be the equivalent of the Avengers to Canada. What the Avengers are to the U.S. is what that team is to Canada. So that's going to be something to look forward to. So the Canadian difficulty side quests, you know, they'll use our experience with that and take the feedback with regards to the difficulty level, and that will be used to help them start to tune what the Cavalier difficulty quest should be like. August, you'll have Herald difficulty side quests. So it looks like we're going to get a new Herald of Galactus, something to look forward to at the same time. And September, you'll finally have your Cavalier difficulty event quest launched. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to streaming that. And that's probably one of those things that I will stream live for the first time. So gonna be something fun to do. And then rewards boost and story updates. This more than anything else talks about like Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3, some of the goals and how they're going to be changing how the design for those things are. I won't get into that if somebody does want me to talk about, Act 1 and Act 2 and Act 3. Definitely, you can message me and I'll discuss some of these, but it's basically just about changing how the rewards are. And if you've completed it in, the last 3 months before the change, then you'll be compensated for that. But outside of that, for somebody, for me who completed, Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3 a long time ago, those rewards don't mean anything to me, which, based on my progression point, which is why I don't receive compensation for things like that. And that's completely fine and fair. So, like I said, I won't get into that. And then you have Beyond the Quest, some things that they're doing to just kind of to spice up the graphics in the game a bit. They're changing, they've added battle music, boss music, quest exploration. When you explore the quest, you'll hear all new music instead of the old menu sounds, champion selections. Having a hard time to choose choosing your team will perusing at your roster has gotten even better with brand new back-end track. So more music, different variety. On top of the awesome new music, we'll be refreshing Battle Realm with all new visuals welcoming you to the maps of Book 2, including iconography and chess designs. It's more than just new fights awaiting you in Book 2, and we can't wait for you to experience it all later. So basically, your visual senses and hearing senses, personally, I play with the game sound off because it's just the same old thing, and honestly, I can't stand it. So just a lot of new things to kind of grab your attention and make the game more appealing. Like I said, from an audio perspective and from a visual perspective. So a lot of different things going on. This is definitely some good news, what sounds like some good steps forward for the future of the game, and very excited. Now you do have this boss rush and more. So in the summer, we'll be releasing something that's a new spin on our boss rush content called the Summer Smackdown. You'll freely unlock a new boss rush each week for 5 weeks. Completing each week grants you an unlock item required to participate in the final week, the Omega Quest, which combines the previous 5 weeks bosses for the ultimate challenge. This content will be available in all our usual difficulties. Let us know what you think of the format when it comes your way in late July. So the boss rushes were always kind of fun. this does sound this does sound, like I said, will be fun, and at the same time you get to the last week with that Omega level and kind of tackling all of those bosses. Should be good. They've normally been designed very well with some really good rewards. So uh, you're gonna be keeping people busy, that's for sure. People wanting content, well, they have it. Um, More, as they say, on the nightly news. And finally, it's our mission to provide more engaging strategic rewards and downright fun fights for the contest as the contest evolves. With changes to Act 6, the awesomeness of Book 2, that sweet Variant 5, and the long awaited Cavalier Difficulty, there is something for almost everyone. And when I say almost everyone, I'm talking about the special group at the top, those that have bested everything and laughed into the abyss. Well, we can't have that now, can we? It's time for a little test. Um, it's time for some real pain. So, Summer of Pain working title. As the summer didn't have enough, we're designing a brand new challenge for the best of MCOC players. Something for those that have blasted through all of Act 6, beat the best while on vacation, and treat variants like a stroll along the beach. In response to these feats and to deliver challenges which will test your sanity, we're working on something that may make you question life itself. The strongest, most fearsome, and finger breaking difficulty fights from across the contest will return, but unique roster requirements, smaller teams, and new ways to play them. Um, and that sounds difficult. I might attempt a fight or so. Hopefully, it's permanent content. But wow. Later this summer, we'll be throwing down the gauntlet to you, the best of the best, to take this challenge. In reward, you'll be adorned with some unique and intriguing rewards. You will need all of your skills, all of your roster, and all your bravery to best the Summer of Pain. Stay tuned as we gear up to reveal more of this new challenge. Um, and, uh, you know, pleasantries, MCOC dev team. So, this has been long. I'm not going to drag on much longer. Like I said, when it comes to quest changes that are being made, upcoming quests, this is some really exciting development I am happy about. Not happy about war, super happy about what they're looking to do with quest changes that they're looking to be made. Some not hard dates, but at least you have a timeline and an idea of, there's some hard dates. There's but there's some things that you'd like them to know exactly when, like with the Act 6 and so forth. But at the same, with the Act 6 changes, but I would rather them tell me, hey, this will be all done by the release of Book 2, Chapter 1 in December, than for them to rush through and mess everything up. So I know the time frame that they're working on. I know what they're working on first, and then the other things that they're going to be doing along the way. So really happy about this message and how they are looking to take the content into the future. Something for everybody, something for the new players with regards to what they're doing with Act 1 and Act 2 and Act 3, something for the players that have become Cavalier and what's the next step for them with, having how they're going to tackle the rest of Act 6, how they're going to, how they're introducing Cavalier Difficulty, and they're having paths that people of various levels can complete without draining through items or units. While more seasoned players can take on, at the same time, take on the more difficult paths at the same time, can take on the more difficult paths and get those rewards and continue to build their roster. This addresses a lot of different people at different levels in a fair and balanced way, and you can't ask for much more than that. Really happy about all of this. If you have direct questions, if you felt I breezed over something that you'd like more information on, please, let me know in a comment. I know it's been a long video already. Thank you if you've made it all the way through. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe and notification button. And thank you as always for just going on the journey with me. Looking forward to what's up next in the contest. And have a blessed day.